we all know how growing up nerds were picked upon, right? Well, recently I watched the movie 21 Jump Street, where Channing Tatum, as an undercover detective, talks about how the nerds have become the cool and popular guys. They are running things and everyone is in touch with just being themselves, and they are these crunchy, granola dudes, also known as health-conscious crazy dude. Well, it's kind of like that here at this prison. And I am actually a crunchy granola dude. I could very well be strung up off compliments or overdosed off confidence, but instead, this prison has a swagger of intelligence which allows me to be self-assured enough to stand here today and give a TED talk. But I wasn't always this self-assured. Growing up, due to my preference for books over things like sports, I was a social outcast. I was considered to be a square, and I was even bullied. However, the bullies didn't know that I was smart enough to learn karate and boxing, so it was easy for me to defend myself against the blows of a bully. However, it was not so easy for me to defend my self-esteem from the blows of peer pressure. And eventually, I gave in and got caged in on a prison sentence. Now that I am a grown man, the only blows that comes to my self-esteem is from my 18-year-old son and my 21-year-old daughter from constantly being told, "Dad, that's so 90s." But see, I've been locked up since 1995, and it's their way of constantly making sure that I step up my game. This term, swagger, has become popular throughout the pop culture. Swagger is described as a persona that is absorbed and adored by others because you have let go of who people feel you should be in order to be who you are. Swagger allows you to make up your own ways. Swagger is described to you by how much you exceed people's expectations of you. Now, strangely, as fairly intelligent as I am, and fairly, my swagger consists of confused admiration because I can be charming, yet direct, subtle, yet outrageous. Sometimes I can get a little wild. I get beside myself, so it seems like there's two of me, but I'm guaranteed to never be predictable and never be a bore. But this is not about me. Back to my son and daughter. Both of them are college students. They are very intelligent, very multi-talented, and very personalistic. This only means that they are crafty about tagging their personality onto everything that they do. They are the ones who told me about how being smart is becoming the newest, coolest trend, and that it is gradually spreading to the following generations. Now, we all know how with different generations, words can carry different connotations. Like at one point, bad meant good, tight meant excellent, ill meant great. So in my attempt not to seem so 90s, I asked, well, what does being smart mean? And my straightforward, too cool for TV son, not considering that I was actually a wannabe sensitive thug, says, "Dang, Dad, you been gone that long that you don't know what being smart means? Everybody knows being smart means intelligence." But quite naturally, I asked, well, what does intelligence mean? And I guess my daughter, she was feeling in touch with just being herself. But she says intelligence is the conscious awareness and the relevant knowledge and the intuitive insight of a built-in functional sense of self. I'm so confused. I'm like, my son, he gets firm. He said, "Look, man, it's about being smart, about how you do you." And as you can see, he's bigger than me, so I'm like, hey, I can rock with that. Now, I do a lot of reading. I watch TV, the news, especially the educational program. And I have actually been noticing a few trendy patterns that are contributing to this culture wave of intelligence. Technology, for instance. Technology is very trendy. It takes at least a little bit of intelligence to understand how the design functions of technology meets the needs of our daily lives. And I read somewhere that due to the availability of online classes, there is an increase in the people who are enrolled in educational institutes. And as a youth mentor, I recently found out that even in the hip-hop culture, there is a widespread interest in healthy living and environmental protection. I can easily remember when the phrase "being up on things" used to mean being familiar with the newest music, the newest fashion, the newest excitement. But now, this includes being familiar with concepts like organic, omega, bioflavonoids, antioxidants, and yoga. Seriously, yoga. And also, a few years ago, I would have never been able to imagine the hood going green. And no, y'all, I do not mean Cheech and Chong style. I really like the buzz about the need to be more innovative, more creative, and more unconventional, as if there hasn't always been an abundance of creative, unconventional people. We were just considered to be weird, corny, lame, and other put-downs. Well, this trend indicates that more people can be less afraid to express their individual intellectual inclinations without being categorized or put in a box. It's kind of like that Glee effect. And if embraced by enough people, it could very well reduce bias and menacing behavior, such as bullying and prejudicial crime. And it could reduce the prison population. For me, being someone who was considered a square, I tried to put in, I came to prison. Sometimes when I sit around and I think about how I have disrupted my life, the words of the rapper Jay-Z comes to mind when he says, "The hood now belongs to the squares who swear they won't make the same mistakes that got you there." And this is so true because all the guys that I know from when I was growing up who was considered squares, they are now career-oriented within the communities. They have the nicest houses, they drive the best cars, and my, oh my, those guys have the hottest women. They really do. I really should have remained a square. Even Barack Obama, with that wife, Michelle, he said that growing up, he wasn't considered to be too cool. Now this guy is considered to be exceptionally brilliant with one of the most extraordinary swaggers in the world. Henry Bergson, a French philosopher, he talked about how we are free. Something about being free. I just know he said free in personality. Anything that has something to do with free, I want to hear it. But I mentioned this quote to my son and daughter on a visit when they asked, how is it that I can think the way that I think and do the things that I do after being locked up for so long? And I tell them, this prison has a social mobility which allows me a sense of freedom beyond any physical confinement, because I continually see guys leave here as offenders from incarceration to inspiration as upstanding, successful members in society, and some altering the culture in the process. And I wanted to make them think progressively, so I say for me, when I do me, it's about continuously looking for a new sense of direction in which I can better myself, and constantly looking for new ways in which I can do things more effectively. I tell them that it is more than about just being smart about how you do you. It's about not allowing your minds to recognize any boundaries, not allowing your perspective to be short-sighted, and being open to what is going on around you so that you can incorporate what you do know into a new spirit. And you guys should have seen their faces. They sat there looking so captivated, not knowing that I was trying to think of the words to say to keep the moment going. So I say, look, the more that I learn, the more that I can accomplish. The more that I accomplish, the more I raise the opinion of myself and what I'm capable of doing. And they still just sat there with that captivating look on their faces as if I was the great Swami Guru Papananda. However, my enlightenment has reached the loss of words. So I said, well, look, man, this is how I do me. My daughter said that those were some of the realest words she had ever heard me say. My son, he changed his perspective. He embraced me. I said, dang, Dad, we need more OGs like you out here. I felt so intelligent and yet cool, but still sensitive. But I got my swagger back. Now, it's on you guys. Be smart about how you do you. Get your swag on.